How you doing, Dom and Joseph? Let me ask you, is the video okay and the sound? Everybody sound good and the video okay? Okay, well, did you hear me? I better write this down just in case. Um, I'll ask here. Okay, Jim. Thanks, Dominic. Okay, the what I want to talk about this afternoon is pretty much a continuation of what we talked about earlier today, and this is like, what can we expect for 2022? Hey, Paul, how you doing? And there were at least two indicators that we really shouldn't expect too much. Now, I could be wrong, but uh, we got to be careful. Bonjour, Mark. Um, Here are the indicators that I had. One, I think I mentioned this a while ago. Uh, when I went to New York for the what's it called, the Watch Time show in October, I went over and I met with the guy who's the manager of the FP Journe New York boutique, and I asking him what's new and what's going on and so forth, and he said we're sold out until all of 2022 has been sold out. Oh, that's that's one thing. Now, another thing I didn't realize was sort of a harbinger to something else. About, I don't know how long it's been, a few months now. Uh, I got a watch. I got a. There were some really good buys on some watches from Urban Jurgensen. I'd always wanted an Urban Jurgensen, never could afford it. And so when I saw this, yeah, that's what I was going to say. S- what Federico told me at the time, he said these are directly from Urban Jurgensen. They're not, and somehow this is what I heard or read into it. Really, was that some store, went belly up, and so they had to send all their watches back, and Urban Jurgensen couldn't sell them as new, and so they went to that, and then Urban Jurgensen sent them to Federico to sell them, but that wasn't what happened. Apparently, what was going on was that they were, and this is well before it was announced by Kerry Vinton Lonan that that he took over. He's taken over Urban Jurgensen, which is sort of an interesting thing. Hi, Maruzio, how you doing? So, and then they announced, as the rancher just pointed out, there aren't going to be any until 2023. And so, and then I got another thing from a guy in England who was saying, well, what, should we stock up on all of these since they're at a really good price? Here's mine that I got. Just really beautiful watches. And the the thing of it is that, yeah, well, these are really well priced right now. So maybe that's the thing to do, or I don't know. I had there's so many other watches I want to get, and I also have one that I'm going to need to save up for in a big way. So I don't know, but I don't think there are going to be too many left. I'm pretty sure of it because in the 40 years they only made 1,000. Good grief! I thought that H. Moser that maybe was hoping to make 2,000 a year watches was pretty, that's pretty low because they wanted to have this certain quality level they wanted to keep up. But 1,000 in 40 years, or whatever it was. I thought, wow, and they're handmade. And so, yeah, they're going to be more expensive. So, it was sort of like, whoa. And there aren't going to be any new ones till 2023. And so, and the ones they have now are really good prices, but I don't know how long that's going to last either. We'll see. So, anyway, so that's one of the things that I'm not expecting a whole lot from in 2022. I think that the recovery from the pandemic, I think 2023 is really going to be a major year for a lot of new stuff. From some other sources, I found out that earlier in this year, there wasn't much business at all for the uh, for the watchmakers, for the case makers, for all of these other people who are involved in making watches, and that sort of turned the corner just recently. So suddenly there's a big need for that, but we're going to see what happens. But like I said, these are dubious predictions. Uh, my general prediction is going to be not a whole lot new for 2022, but uh, I've been wrong before. We'll see what it is. Hey, Patrick, how you doing? John, how are you? What's Nicholas Jr.? I think once the word gets out, they'll get all snapped up. Yeah, I I think so too, Clyde. I at least some of them have been snatched up before they're all gone or before the money runs out. One of the two. Hi, Watch Nichols. How you doing? Um, I expect most MSRP will be raised. Yeah, Dominic, I think you're right on that. This is what I wonder. Now, these have already gone up at um, at some of the ADs. There was one AD that is sort of a bellwether for them, and they've gone up. They were, I mean, like these are the MSRPs are like 34,000, something like that. That's how come I couldn't afford one. And then they had this drop, and there's still a few around. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. I mean, we're in a really interesting time. Hey, Mark, Mark J, poor Mark has been trying to get this watch, and all kinds of things have been happening. I hope they come through. Hi, Mr. Cassioke, how you doing? Um, uh, exquisite timepieces, yeah. Okay. So some of the things is that based on three things really. One thing is the fact that FP Journe is all sold out for 2022. The uh, Urban Jurgensen aren't going to make any more until 2023. There was a sort of a late start, I'll put it that way. Sort of the business and certain sectors of the watchmaking world didn't light up until maybe a month ago, and it's usually something that you have more round time. So we'll see. Any other ideas that you guys have? Hey, Mark, how you doing? Forbin, good to see you. It's depressing to hear watches discussed like a gasoline shortage with price run ups. Yeah. Okay. Well, um, yeah, that's true. The one I there are a lot of other ways I think that we can get to things, and we're going to see what happens along those lines. Hi, Rick, how you doing? But if you're expecting something new, and especially something new and affordable, that's really the high quality, um, I just don't know where you would look. One place that I have seen some really good buys with brand new watches, and they may have been longer than I thought, but this is Arm& and Strom. Uh, and I'm trying to think the name of the watch they had, but it was about 16,000. Now I know that's a lot of money, but compared to some of these other sky high prices, it seemed for a watch of that caliber and quality, I thought it was pretty good. Um, ah, does anybody know the what's the name of the Arm and Strom that they that's around 16,000? I forgot what the name was. It's some kind of constant force. It's a nice piece of real horology. So that was sort of a bright spot, I suppose. Um, Joseph, hey Joseph, by the time we complete our research, they'll be gone. I think you're probably right. Um, I just tried to buy from Harbring too, but seems they are not very interested. I'm not getting a reply from Mrs. Maria since weeks. How that is interesting. You know what you might do, Maurizio, if there is a an AD wherever you live. Like here in the United States, there's only two harboring two ADs, one in Philadelphia and one in Solana Beach, out San Diego. If you contact them and ask them, right now, um, I've gone to the website of both of them, and they're advertising harboring twos for sale. So you might go that way. Gravity equal force, Joseph. Yeah, that's one of the Arm and Strong gravity equal force. That is a very interesting piece of horology. I wasn't treated fairly by the AD. I had encouraging meeting with the head of the brand owner himself. That's the way to do it, Mark. Go to the guy at the top and tell him, yeah, yeah, I know. You know, sometimes I don't know. You're the there was this one guy I got an email from, or not an email, but a comment from, and he's going to write this thing that's going to expose something the secondary markets. I'm not sure. You don't have to go to the secondary markets. You don't have to go to the ADs. You can go straight to the manufacturer if you want to find some interesting hijinks. But it's very encouraging to hear that Mark got a good response. Just make sure it has a P4, P5, or P8 movement. Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, Rancher, the P5 is sort of an automatic version of the P4. The P8 is a version of the P4 with the detent escapement on it. So they all come back sort of to this base that uh, is a very nice one. Okay, I see my calpograph is shooting up in price, and it's an older model, less and less on chrono now. Yeah, you know, that was one of the things. Anybody who missed out on getting some really good deals on Parmigiani, those are such good watches, and people don't like them. I mean, well, of course, there's no sense in getting a watch you don't like the looks of, but the horology and sort of the quality by a living, you know, really top watchmaker and Michel Parmigiani. Man, I tell you, you can find one of those. I still think they're a good deal. I was looking at mine the other day, and it's got it's one of the earlier ones, one of the older ones, and you can still find these. They have a solid gold, 22 karat gold rotor. I mean, the rest of the watch is like a Kalpa or something like that. Kalpa's not the Hebdo Damari, but the automatics. A lot of those up to there was a certain point where they figured, okay, the gold prices is up at 2,000. God knows what's going to happen. They had the other day, they discovered a new variant of COVID in South Africa, and the old stock market took a dive. So that'll affect. I don't know. You know, it's been taking a dive, and then they'll say, "Oh, well, it's not so bad," and dust themselves off, and the stock market will go up as people are looking to get good deals there. Um, Yeah, the Hebdo. Yes, all of these things are really the B4 you don't want. Yeah. Um, he said they fulfilled all AD orders, including my watch. He didn't know what the AD did with it. Contacted AD and asked for an explanation. AD said that my watch may have been double booked. Oh, yeah, that's sort of like, what does the guy think? He's an airline where you double book people? So you got bounced. Man, I tell you, I they to say they shouldn't do that. I don't think. I think that Rolex dealers who charge premiums. There's another word for premium. That's price gouging, and I don't know what's going on with that. I had Mark. I had a guy, and this is he was a AD for FP Jorn in Beverly Hills, and he and I made a deal. Uh, and then he said, "No, I can't do it because I have a regular customer." In other words, we put our regular customers up. Well, to me, that made perfect sense. I didn't feel resentful or anything else. And I went off and I got, that's how I got my residence. This other one didn't work out. And so I'll find something else. This is a few years ago when you could do that. But, there's, to me, it probably is a good business practice to give special favors to customers who are going to keep you in business, now and much later on. And so I don't have a problem with that. But if they don't tell you that, and especially if they double book something, if the guy had called and said, "Well, look, and this is going to be a problem next year," I think. I don't know. Um, chaos is a ladder. Yeah. Brands like Parmigiani that are struggling in a great market scare me. Yeah, Rick, if you're looking to with Parmigiani, I think if you're looking for to make money from them, I wouldn't pick them. But they have the Sandoz Foundation, Family Foundation behind them, and they make a lot of their money not from selling Parmigianis, but rather Vaucher movements. Okay, let me see. It's called Auto Calpa is the name of their hairspring maker. And they make something on the order of 230,000 hairsprings. So somebody's buying them, and it's sure not it's sure not Parmigiani. Um, yeah, I think what they have been doing, Rick, is if you've seen their new line, they're getting rid of all of the old ones, namely all of the ones I owned, and they're getting rid of those, and including ones I would love to have, like the Ovale with the what are they called, something graphic cans that go in and out like that. But yeah, okay, Rick, with your collection, I'm surprised to hear you say this. You never struck me as a hype chaser. No, Rick's not a hype chaser. Um, stylistically, they're difficult to understand by non horophiles. That's a good point. The ones I have, they're really reliable. They work great. Kari Vutenlana did recommend them when when he and a couple other guys were asked what's the best watch under 10,000, and he said it was Parmigiani, and then he had to add to it. Well, I don't know. Speaking of Vutenlana, he's the guy who's behind the people who are buying um, or bought, I guess, Urban Jurgensen. How that's going to work, I don't know. This is going to be interesting. I'll tell you why. Uh, to me, anyway, Kerry Voot and Lonnet is one of the few really top watchmakers who is also a good businessman, or at least he's very active. And so he has Wooten Lannon watches, which seems to take up a considerable amount of time. He has Wooten Lannon and Kalin, the case makers, ones who make cases. And well, that's now that may be mainly Kalin taking care of everything, but they got the Wooten Lannon name on it. So what would he be doing with Urban Jurgensen? They talk about coming out with new models, and the guy sent me a picture of one of the watches he got that was uh, not like this one, but they have the teardrop lugs on it, and it looked almost identical to a Vinge 8 in terms of that style. It's a little plainer than the Vinge 8, but it had the guilloche and so forth on it, and then this nice big subdial at 6 o'clock. And that thing was, they were picking those things up for a very, very little right now. And again, they're going to run out if they haven't already. By the time that I got to the ones that Federico had, uh, me and this other guy who I won't mention, well, time we got them, there were 10 of them. And by the time we got there were four. We got two. And then, or there were maybe five, I don't know. But anyway, we got two of them, and there were just, yeah, I guess there were just two left. So it's sort of like it happened very quickly. I'll put it that way. And so there are some of these around, but I don't think you're going to find them at at an AD, because I think the ADs are going to, you know, keep as much as possible. Also, too, this is another thing I wonder about. If you have an AD's got all this stock, um, he's probably got, he's got some money in it, and so they saying, well, we're going to drop the prices. Well, what's the AD going to do? What am I supposed to do? Drop the prices, and there goes my profit margin, or there goes all of my profit. I don't know. Interesting stuff going on. Hey, Mark, I'm also totally that ADs keep favoring their existing customers. Yeah, as long as these guys do not get the watches to make quick profits by reselling them right away. Yeah, Mark, I don't know what they're doing. This is a whole other side of watch collection I know nothing about, and probably everybody else does. And this is sort of treating it like a stock market. Um, you get something, you hope it goes up in price, and then you sell it. uh, Rolex and Patek Philippe buyers are, they're famous for doing that very successfully, I might add. But there are some other ones that are coming along now that the margins are huge in terms of the upkick in them. Um, but understand that Sandoz Foundation is looking to unload Parmigiani. Rick, the only hint of that I've seen was there was an article in, I think it was in French, and they didn't say that they were doing that. Instead, what they said, they were speculating that they might because they weren't making a profit. I think this latest move by Parmigiani, their business guy, the new CEO they have, the guy who took over, they're slimming it down to some very popular models, very severe models that, like what are they? The Tonda 1950, that sort of style, which is, sort of a classic looking watch. We'll see what happens. This is, uh, we can speculate all we want, but, sometimes we're right, sometimes we're surprised. I'd rather be surprised. Why do we think that JLC, the watchmaker, is not more popular? They have such great quality. I don't know. That's a good question. They have. My wife has a little switcheroo. What do they call the reverso? And she loves it. It's a great looking watch. It's been working great. She's had it for several years now. Cool watches. Yeah, I'm surprised by that too. Why, Mark? Why? I'll say it wrong. Jaeger-LeCoultre isn't more popular. Kerry Burton London worked for UJ at one time, right? Yeah, Mark, exactly. He did. See, this is sort of interesting. Now, another thing I suspect is sort of like the Scandinavian mafia. You have Kerry Burton London. I think he helped out Saranava, whatever, which is a, I believe, Finnish um, watchmaker, and the the Danish one, Urban Jurgensen, was originally Danish, and they had a Danish. I think the CEO was Danish. His name sounded Scandinavian, so now we have sort of old carriers, taking care of the Scandinavian based watches. Why there's a reason why Curry has bought UL. I got I mean, Urban Jurgensen, you has bought UJ. They're really great watches. They were not marketed very well. They didn't play up their major watchmakers. They played up Baumgartner, who was a wonderful CEO and was a watchmaker, but he wasn't like like Carrie Brewton Lana was really caliber watchmaker. But rather they had Derek Pratt, who was famous watchmaker, and he and George Daniels did a lot of stuff together. But if you go by a Urban Jurgensen, you didn't know that, and you didn't. And maybe Carrie says, "Well, they didn't know that I worked on it too." Uh, Kari Voutilanen, I believe, did the prototyping on the P4, and so that's a major contribution to that. So maybe he felt, well, I can sell these things a lot better. I don't know. We'll see, because a friend of mine. Oh boy, I got to be careful about what I say here. Let me put it this way: there was a watch that was ordered from Kerry Wootton Lonan, and it was way, 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 way overdue, and it finally got completed, but it was way behind. And this is is Wootton Lonan. What is he? How is he going to run both Wootton Lonan watches plus the Urban Jurgensen? And by the way, too, this is not Kerry going there with money bags and saying, "Here, there's a whole group of investors with Kerry buying Urban Jurgensen," and I don't know who they are or how much interest they have or anything else, but it's sort of an interesting thing. I can hardly wait till 2023 and find out what it is. Uh, there's one other thing too. There was a really neat watch that was being developed at Urban Jurgensen. It's sort of an affordable um, Urban Jurgensen with a P4 movement called the Alfred. And most of the other ones were made of gold or platinum. The ones by Urban Jurgensen, like this one, is yellow gold. And having ones that are made out of stainless steel, I know they're. I mean, especially now, they're a lot less expensive. Oh, that's right, Watch Nichols. Yeah, Watch Nichols has a really good point. Um, Kerry Wooten Lonnon's daughter is involved and is doing some stuff. And I'll tell you another guy who has his daughter is also involved in it and doing a bang up job is Philippe Dufour. It's sort of like at some point, if I ever get a Philippe Dufour watch, it may be by one of his daughters, which would be very cool. Hey, Tim G, how you doing? A lot of independents are thriving. Gronfield, Kari Chopek. Yeah, that's true, Rick. They are. I again, uh, you can make a watch that just. I mean, the thing on a lot of Parmigiani watches that people don't like are those big horn lugs. But the thing about the horn lugs, they're wonderful. They fit right around your wrist, and that's but they Some people don't like them. I like them just fine. Hi, EPFRA, RFA. Let's see. Everything is going to get Kerry hands and Comblamine dials. Yeah, probably. Um, yeah, yeah, right. Parmigiani is doing the tighten up. Hi, John. Good to see you. My Curry V binge 8 took 18 months, about 9 to 10 months longer than normally thought, but it's not unusual today, worth the wait. Yeah, that's the thing. Some people get upset about it, Rick. At least some I know do. On Hannah, you missed me on that one. Hey, Marco, how you doing? Let's see. I'm not sure that this is so good for his image as an independent watchmaker. There are different ways to look at it. You may be right, but trying to think, take a look at how many. It seems that FP Jorn has his fingers in a lot of pies too. He's got his own case making company, in addition to all of these other things he does. Uh, uh, hey, Robert, how you doing? Marco, let's see. Carrie is definitely worth the wait. Now we pray that the UJ will be the tutor. Oh, hey, now that's interesting. It'll be the tutor of it. Right now, compared to what they are normally, there are a few left that are good buys. Some people I know are saying, "Hey, now's the time to get a bunch of them. They're going to buy them out." Uh, yeah, to some extent, Clyde, you're right. All these delays in delivery in certain cases due to the virus, mostly supply. Yeah, John, that's a good point. Yeah, the virus thing has really knocked all kinds of scheduling off. See, one of the things, you take a guy like Kerry Butenholm, he's got all of his vaccine shots, so he's safe. But he's got all these people working for him, and some guy saying, "Well, we need to get X for cases," and they say, "Well, we can't deliver that because we got all these people out." There's all kinds of stuff like that. The complexity of building a watch is becoming clear daily to me as finding out all kinds of stuff that we've got to juggle. Um, Okay, I think Harry will prop up UJ. Then it will be sold maybe to Richemont Swatch Group. Pretty typical playbook. Wow, now that's an interesting idea, Rick. Wouldn't that be interesting? I got- Hey, Rick, I got an idea of another company that might be sold for great profits after after we get the thing going. Oh, let's see. Is the Big Eight from UJ a poor man's Vinge 8? What it is, it has a Frederick Piguet 1600 in it on the that's sort of their quote entry level watch. It's still very expensive at the MSRP though. The Ford daughter has already made a simplicity. Wow. Yeah, listen, I'd buy one from her, but I can't afford any any of them. Um, UJ won't play well with Breguet in the same group. Definitely not. I think that would. I think you're absolutely right about that. I am curious as to see for how many of these independent brands will still be around 40 years. And yes, I'm hoping to be able to witness that 40 years. I hope. I don't know. I hope that Rick that I hope not Rick, and I don't know if that would happen. I like to think Kerry has more respect for UJ given the history he has with him. I don't know, just look at your so proud adventure, John. My so proud 8-10 adventure. I think I may have it cornered this time around. I just got to stop and do it. That's the problem. It's that my Soprod A10 is a wonderful movement. If you're thinking of making your own watch someday, uh, Soprod A10, it's got the same dimensions as an ETA 2894 A2, but it was really designed by Seiko as their entry-level high horology movement, and it certainly works like one. So I can say that for it. Uh, it would be interesting to compare a father and daughter example side by side. She seems so talented, motivated. Oh, if you grow up and your dad is is Philippe Dufour, that would be great. I think that FP Jorn's son, he was not interested at all in watchmaking. He became a pilot, I think. And so you have that. I can understand that. If somebody just says, "Man, that's not for me." Um, Others, yes. Hi, Design Atelier. Greetings from Aruba. Hi, uh, not a controlling shareholder. I think independents are here to stay, and that in the middle of a shift in the watch industry, I think there may be a big consolidation. One of the things, there's a certain subgroup of very well-heeled watch collectors, and I think that's a good deal of the watches from that. On the other hand, some of the top watchmakers um, in the what is that called? The AHCI, the Independent Watchmakers Group. Those guys, they turn out these incredible watches. There was the Goldfield, the one the Masters had, and they had these seven Masters, and they had all of these guys like Sven Anderson and all of these other guys. They made these watches, and they had most of them had ETAs 2892s in them, but they were really incredible. And so I thought, man, I'm going to find one of those under the radar by Bernard Lederer in a Phillips auction they had the other day. And I thought, well, let's see if I can sneak in and get one for around $3,000 or $4,000. That thing sold for $60,000 with an ETA in it. I thought, never mind. So the independents, even the guys like Vincent Calabrese, Antoine Prezio, and they made some watches with ETA type movements in them, just so the little guy could have a watch. And then they make these wonderful double tourbillons that only a certain number of people can afford. Same thing with Daniel Roth. Okay. The fifth element. Okay. Do you see that Stefan Kadoki became a full member? Oh, no, I didn't see that, Rick. I've been waiting for that to happen. I wonder how that happened. I think that I'm really glad to see he did. I didn't notice that the last time I looked at the members, he was still down as a candidate, but I'm glad to hear he made it. Uh, Multipass. Let's see. Yeah, Roger Dubuis. That's the one I'm. Those things they're getting snatched up. It was, I, I, they gotta fly lower to the ground than I do. Okay, guys. Well, listen. I'm way over on my time, but I messed up this morning, so I thought it would be okay if I did. And the rancher didn't admonish me. Thank you. Anyway, so look, guys. I'm going to try to see if I can make some sense out of the whole thing on Monday's video with the Urban Jurgensen, and we'll see. Thank you all for coming by and being so forgiving about my screw up this morning. It was